Here's the kind of stuff I give sellers before I even meet them. They're not just pretty PDFs. They are guides that answer a very specific question that they have, and they don't just bring me leads, they get me listings. When I had just moved to a brand new city and nobody knew me and I had no market share whatsoever, my very first listing appointment that I went on, they didn't even interview anybody else. The second listing appointment that I went on, he said, we're going to interview 3 people. I said, great. I got in my car and drove away. I wasn't even a mile down the road when they called me and said, oh, who are we kidding? Come back. We're going to choose you. We just felt like we should interview multiple people, but they didn't. And both of those sellers signed with me immediately without even calling a single other person. Why? Because I made YouTube videos and I drove them to my website where they downloaded these lead magnets. And I know that what you really want is for sellers to choose you, for sellers to say, you are the agent that I choose to list my house. And they're not just picking you because you're the cheapest. They're not just picking you because you're the friend of a friend of a friend of a neighbor whose second cousin twice removed went to school with you when you were in 2nd grade. You want sellers who are choosing you because of your expertise, your knowledge, your personality, all of the skills that you bring to the table. And lead magnets are a great way to make that happen. So in today's video, I'm going to show you what you need to do to make your own lead magnet. But spoiler alert, I've made more than 24 of them that are fully written, completely laid out, lovely designs, ready to just be personalized with your branding information. So if you want to skip the whole making it yourself part, I'll just put the link down below and you can just buy mine and start using them right away. I was going to share my iPad, but I forgot to charge it and my iPad is dead. So instead, we are going to share my Canvas screen. Close enough, right? So step number 1 is decide who is the seller that we are trying to reach. Not all sellers have the same goals. Not all sellers have the same problems. Why are they selling? Are they moving out of state? Are they stuck with a house that's way too big and they want to downsize to something that is much easier to maintain? Maybe they have a 5,000 square foot multi-level house and they are seniors and they want to move into a 55 and over community where someone else will mow the grass for them and they don't have any stairs because their knees are getting creaky and they don't want to have to go up and down stairs every single day. Who is the person? And let's figure out what is the main problem that they have. So number 1 is deciding who and what. Who is the person we're trying to reach and what is the problem that we want to solve for them? The next thing I want to do is write out what will be included in this guide. Now, don't make it go crazy. It does not need to be 15 pages long, single-spaced with a ton of information in it. In fact, it should be shorter. The idea is that they consume it in a single sitting. We need a cover page. We need the last page that has all of your information and how they can further the conversation with you if they're ready to take the next step. And then the information in the middle. It should, by all means, be good, solid information that answers their question, but it will be a paragraph, not an entire book, if you know what I'm saying. We want it to be a small bite-sized piece of information that leaves them wanting more. So you don't answer every question they have with this guide. We want them to then say, oh, well, that's very interesting. I need to find out more. So we want to not overwhelm them. And we don't want to make this guide too long. I would say anywhere from 7 to 12 pages is plenty. And 12 is definitely on the long side. So if it's got the cover page and the final page and like 4 pages in the middle, what is that? That's 6 pages. That's probably plenty. Then you're going to think about, what am I going to include in this guide? Now, thank goodness we have AI. That will get you to a great start. I would not have AI write the entire thing because it always sounds like a robot wrote it. We want it to sound like you wrote it. But if you said, I am a seller. Oh, I am 65 years old. I am downsizing. I am selling my 5,000 square foot house. I'm moving to a single story because of these things. What are 10 important things that I need to know if I am doing this? And ChatGPT or Claude or whatever your AI tool of choice will give you a list of things. You don't have to use all of them. You could just pick 3 or 5 or 7. It does not need to be 10. So pick the ones that you think are the most valuable and include them in there. And let me show you a quick overview of what one that I have made would look like. So here's an example of one of my templates. We have the cover page, we have the last page that has the agent's information on it, and then all of the pages in the middle are very photo heavy and not a ton of text. So the idea is that the person will download this document, they'll read through the entire thing, and they'll be able to consume it all at once. It will definitely answer questions that they have, but it won't overwhelm them. They will not feel like they're reading your dissertation. We don't want them to read this document and they either think, well, awesome, she answered all of my questions. Now I can go sell FSBO. That's not what we want to have happen. We also don't want to give them so much information that they're like, oh, it makes my brain hurt. I don't even want to sell now because I don't want to deal with this. We want it to be actionable for them, where they read this and they think, okay, this is not so bad. I can figure this out. I can do this. And I really like the way that she presented all of this information. I like her personality. I'm going to call this person and let's set up an appointment. So now we go back to our steps, and step number 3 would be give them specific directions with a strong, have you ever noticed that you can't type when people are watching? A strong call to action. So what do I mean by a strong call to action? I mean that they are going to feel compelled to reach out to you and schedule an appointment with you. So they've read this document. It's been very helpful. You've given them a lot of good ideas. And now they say, I want to talk to this person. What would be the easiest way for them to do that? Well, you can say, call me. You can say, email me. You can say, here's my Calendly link. Why don't you schedule a time that we could talk and we'll find out more about your time frame, your needs, where you're going, and if there's anything that I can do to assist you. And they jump on your Calendly link and they pick a time on your calendar. You could say, would you like for me to do a complimentary equity analysis for you? I love that. I think that's so much better than want me to do a CMA. When you say an equity analysis, it sounds so high level and fancy and professional. You're basically saying, let me tell you how much equity you have in your house so that when you sell it, we'll know how much money you will stand to pocket. But when you phrase it like that, boy, that makes you sound different than every other agent in the market who's just saying, find out what your home's worth. So there's so many different ways that you can get them to take the next step. You just decide, what do you want that next step to be? And then put that in your guide. Now that I've answered all of these 7 tips to do whatever, would you like me to do a free equity analysis of your property? Click this link. Then they go to your website. You probably already have a page on your website. Find out what your home is worth. They have to give you their full address so that you can do all of that research and whatnot. Just get them to take the next step. And then step number 4, after we've made this beautiful document, we're going to export it as a PDF. So I'm in Canva right now. I'm going to hit share, download, change it from PNG to PDF standard. That will be fine if you're going to have them download it from the internet. If you're going to print it and mail it to them, then you could certainly do PDF print. Just remember that the file size is going to be way larger, and we're going to download it as an PDF. We're going to go, I almost said SPF. We went to the beach the other day. Oh my gosh, it's so hot here in Georgia. I was the SPF 50 queen that day for sure. Okay, so we're going to download it not as an SPF, but as a PDF. And then we're going to go to our website. We're going to make a landing page where they have to opt in with their name, their email, their phone number in order to get this guide. So if you just make a random seller's guide, who's going to want that? Why is that compelling? It does not answer a specific question for a specific type of seller. You could make any number of guides. It could be something targeting for sale by owners. It could be something targeting people who are downsizing. It could be something targeting people who want to move up or relocate out of state. It could be someone who has inherited a property and they don't know anything about the probate process. It can be on any topic that you want it to be, but make it very specific and don't make it just a very broad seller's guide. You'll find that people will opt in for downloadable PDFs that are extremely specific far more often than they will download something that is just get my seller's guide. It's nice, but it's not compelling. But if you say, download my guide, 10 DIY home improvement projects that will get your home ready for the market that cost you less than $700 each, that is much more compelling than download my seller's guide. Now, if you've been in real estate for any length of time, you have experience. You know the problems that you've come up against over and over and over again, the problems that your clients were experiencing that made them want to sell their house, but they thought it was going to be a big obstacle, a big problem, and you were there giving them guidance and answering their questions along the way. What if you took all of that knowledge and you just packaged it up into a downloadable PDF? And then you're just going to tell people about it. You're going to post about it on Facebook or make an Instagram reel or share it on LinkedIn or make a YouTube video, my personal favorite. You're going to share that you have this guide. And if someone is in that position where they are thinking of selling and this document sounds like it would be the answer to their prayers, they're going to opt in and get it. So I encourage you to start making a lead magnet. It doesn't have to be that hard. But again, if you just feel like I don't even want to bother taking the time to do this, I'll put the link to my 24 guides down below. I'll even throw in the 50% off discount code so that you have no excuse to start getting lead magnets on your website and using them in your business immediately.